Enthusiasts like to argue over how to have the best rides on a roller coaster, whether that be the best seat to sit in, or even the smoothest train to ride on. However, the best time of day to ride a roller coaster is usually only categorized into three times: morning, afternoon, and night. But there are a few more times that are genuinely overlooked by the coaster community, which can provide some pretty stunning rides. The time in which you ride a roller coaster can vastly change your experience, whether that just be the visual side of things or even the forces. Oh, and we can't forget that the layout decides to change on some coasters. Although it might be impossible to ride a coaster at sunrise in the UK, there's no problem in still speculating what it would be like. To begin with, sunrise rides would offer stunning visuals due to, well, the sun rising. I can imagine that if anyone was to ever get a sunrise ride on a roller coaster, the experience would be extremely magical and probably be one of the best rides you'll ever get on a coaster. Going on to the more nerdy side of things, riding a roller coaster at sunrise also comes with, well, I can only guess, quite a noticeable difference in forces compared to later on in the day, because as most people know, roller coasters run a lot faster after they're warmed up. You see where this is going? Connect all the dots and you get slightly weaker airtime, positive Gs and pacing and stronger hang time and a longer ride time. But in great fairness, you won't be riding a roller coaster at sunrise for more hang time. You'd mostly be riding it for the views, which would definitely make it worth riding coaster at sunrise. I don't want to hate on morning rides just because a lot of enthusiasts do. What I'm going to say though is that morning rides do have the same problems as sunrise rides in terms of forces, because sunrise rides literally happen in the morning. But something I don't hear many people talking about are the benefits of morning rides. For example, some coasters have exclusive perks that make morning rides crazy, like intimate hydraulics. If you are lucky enough to be on the very first human-filled/weighted train of the day, chances are that a special ride mode called Boost Mode might still have its effects wearing off. See, from a nerdy YouTube video I watched on how Kindercar only ever reached its top speed in the morning tests, I found some quite interesting facts out. As I previously mentioned, there's a special mode called Boost Mode, which basically speeds up the coaster train to have a faster than normal speed when launching to allow the empty train to clear the top hat. Then, after Boost Mode is turned off, it takes the launch system a few launches to adjust the speed back to the one that gives more tame airtime going over the top hat.
Fastest ride on Kingda Ka with the first loaded train of the day. This was because all the trains prior had been launching empty of riders, meaning the speed reduction was greatly reduced and the launch speed was higher. Thus, the first fully loaded train would launch with the speed reduction needed for an empty train, somewhere around 120 miles per hour, sending it flying over the top hat.
So what this all boils down to is that if you're lucky enough to ride just after Boost Mode is turned off, it might just be your best ride on Stealth. However, I don't know if this actually happens on the likes of Stealth or Rita, so take that with a pinch of salt. If I can find the original video, I'll link it down in the description because it goes into far more depth and is just generally very interesting if you're a coaster nerd. Anyway, another thing that could make morning rides more amazing is the chance to get a first train of the day on a coaster, or even just being one of the first few hundred to ride it. I've personally done this in the past by getting to Thorpe Park about an hour before it opens, and then waiting at one of the gates after the dome, and then sprinting to Hyperia. I can imagine the first train of the day having an incredible atmosphere, and it would be my dream one day to get one on Hyperia. Fun fact, I actually managed to get the third public train of the day once.
That's the front of the queue there. Just there, we're so close.
And on the topic of Hyperia, the morning also does come with the annoying chance that it pulls up Fearless Valley.
Attention to all those in Fearless Valley. Hyperia is currently experiencing a temporary delay.
If you're watching this video, I'm sure you probably know what day rides are like on roller coasters already. The forces will be on their average and the views will just depend on the weather. I don't really think there's much else to say, so let's just get on. Hang on a sec. If you remember from the intro, oh, and we can't forget the layout decides to change in some coasters. I mentioned that sometimes the layout even changes, which of course happens on Gold Rush at Drayton Manor. The first mode takes you up the lift hill and then launches you backwards out of the building, before returning through the building and completing the rest of the layout. Then the second mode drops you backwards off the first lift hill, launching forwards through the building, and then forwards up the lift hill, then forwards through the building again, before finally finishing the layout. It's quite a fun concept, and it would be cool to see this implemented on some other larger coasters as well. Now, it is actually possible to ride a roller coaster at sunset, unlike sunrise. Talking from experience, these rides are stunning, especially if it's on front row ride on Hyperia. This slight temperature change makes the experience feel a little more fresh, and the surreal feeling of flying under an orange sky is just amazing. The forces might even be a bit stronger as well due to the ride having more time to warm up, obviously. And finally, it's the end of the day, and you're lucky enough for the park to be open after dark. First of all, there are some really cool lighting packages that come with roller coasters. For example, Colossus looks absolutely stunning at night. And apparently Hyperia's lights turn off as you go down the first drop as well, which I think is really unique and such a cool touch. These are just a few examples of these spectacular lighting packages, and give the coasters such a whole different atmosphere to them. And then there's the extremely amazing feeling of just riding in complete darkness. Depending on how lit up the area is, you could have a really disorientating ride, which make the forces feel absolutely wild and crazy. I know the likes of the Beast in America have completely pitch black sections, which I think would be really cool on some UK rides, but I think Merlin just likes having rides lit up at night, so I don't think we're going to see that anytime soon. And finally, some coasters even have some really cool lighting effects on the train itself, such as the Swarm, which looks really cool when it's operating without the floodlights on. Anyway, that's it for today. What's your favourite time to ride a roller coaster? Let me know down in the comments. I hope you enjoyed the video, or at least got some laugh out of some jokes, maybe just a little bit. Anyway, if you did, consider checking out some of my other videos, or maybe even subscribe, because there's plenty more coaster nonsense on the way. Thank you so much for watching, I really appreciate it. Until next time, catch you later.